Make me nervous when I hand a woman a whipping.
See, something that looks like a hammer.
Hey, that front of y'all's good looks real nice. I like how y'all do that. Saturday morning was the first time I passed in front of it. And I was like, oh, how that front porch is, I like that. It's too hot to sit out there.
It's our,
Next to us is.
Did you get my email about me chairing?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I didn't want you to be surprised.
That is good. I just figured you wanted to have
I now call this meeting to order. We're going to do it this way. I'm chairman for the first item since this is a whole new commission except Jonathan, and we don't have a chairman and vice chairman right now. So I'm going to call roll. Mr. LeBlanc?
Here.
Mr. DeSalle?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Farr?
Here.
Mr. Brazil?
Here.
Okay. I'm going to offer up a nomination for chairman. We're going to do chairman now. Do I have a nomination?
I'm moving, put Jonathan in there.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to do roll call. Do I have any more nominations? None? Okay. Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes.
Mr. DeSalle?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mr. Brazil?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just.
Okay, motion carried. So now we're going to do vice chairman. Do I have a
Chairman.
nomination? I'm sorry?
your new chair.
Oh, okay, okay. We'll do,
Not
you're exactly right. Yeah, we can take one chair. Look.
You want them to order?
Hey, boy, then.
So 500 for position 3, so 4 stays there. You just switch this, but they have all.
What, we're gonna do vice chairman first? With,
Does that matter in this meeting range?
I wouldn't think so. Say that again?
So he was in 5.
Mm-hmm,
He moved from 5 to 3.
right.
So do they just need new family? Or do they?
In other words, there's 3 come to my seat, I go to that.
No, because he's 4, so he'll stay there until vice chairman.
He was 3 and he goes to 5 now?
Just till vice chair, I think.
Just till
Wait
vice.
till
Oh,
we
I
finish
see what
voting.
you're saying.
Yeah. After. the
So he
vote,
should be
they'll allow
here.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. That's right, yeah. Sorry.
All right, now I'll entertain motions for vice chairman.
Randy Farr.
Randy Farr.
Second.
Any other nominations? All right, hearing none.
Okay, so, repeat that?
Randy Farr.
Okay, for vice
Oh,
chairman.
sure.
Johnny seconded it.
Johnny? Okay. Okay, roll call, Mr. LeBlanc,
Yes.
Mr. DeSalle,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Farr,
Yes.
Mr. Brazil.
Yes.
Motion carried.
They got swapped back.
Now we swap back, or not?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, because you're gonna sit next to me.
I don't know what it is with us.
That's why I did that.
All right, now we need, please stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance. Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom as we begin this meeting. We acknowledge that we need your wisdom and insights, and we welcome your presence among us. Guide us in our discussions and decisions, helping us to seek what is best for all involved. We trust in your protection and wisdom and ask that you direct our meeting according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, motion for approval of minutes of previous meeting. I hit that button?
Yeah, hold on just a second.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna change this to where everybody's at. Okay, now you can start your motion.
All right, can we get a motion?
Motion.
You gotta hit it. All right, a second.
Second.
Can you, yeah. All right, got a motion and a second. All right, please vote. All right,
If you could announce that motion carries.
motion carried.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I need a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Somebody else hit the button. All right, please vote. Motion carried. All right, we did that. All right, the first item up is resolution granting a variance to Annex E Kitara, 797 North Claiborne Street, to allow for 2 mobile homes to sit on 68 foot of road frontage rather than the required 100 feet.
Applicant is on vacation, so he's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had told them if y'all have any other extra questions that we could call him.
I spoke to him,
You did?
yes.
Okay.
He wants to put the trailer side by side, well, back to back, end to end, just like you, like I saw in the picture. And, that'll give him 68 foot of frontage. And the driveway's already on that north side.
And what is, do we know what the reason that for 2 is? Is this private
Well, it's probably a rental.
rentals?
I didn't ask him that, Jonathan, but the thing about it is, I think that we need to do something about, making some type of stipulation in there that those 2 should be the only 2. Isn't that right, Austin?
Yeah,
I mean, can't load it up.
I know one of them is for him. They're here for,
There's room for 4.
They would have to come back and get another variance to put in.
yeah,
Okay,
one of them is personally for him. He said they're here for about 5 years working, and it's for his family.
So the other one's for a rental. Do we know that for a fact?
no, we don't know that for a fact. He never mentioned that. It may be for some of his people.
Yeah, it's for a family member, but I'm not getting right now.
It's probably gonna look a lot better than north of there.
Yeah.
All right, well, we need a motion to keep going.
I'll move.
All right, so motion second. Is anybody else here to speak on this item from the audience? Any other questions from the board? Huh. Yeah, I wish I'd known about the, if it's a rental or not.
Well, we're not sure of that, Jonathan.
I know.
Mr. Chairman, can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Do I need to fill out a card?
Yeah.
please.
Troy Darby, 1107 West Crocker, Sulphur. Jonathan, you're probably struggling with this a little bit. I see you up there thinking about it. I looked at it, Miles looked at it, and what I look at is in that neighborhood, there's several other ones with 2 deep like that. And Bill, I know you probably looked at that as well. Now, I agree with what Bill said. Definitely stipulate that no more than 2 can go on that property. But when you look at those 2 square footage of trailers, there's plenty of square footage on that lot to accommodate that, okay? And normally, Miles and I were talking about this because he's new, we wouldn't do that. But in this exception, because of the part of town we're looking at, and there are similar properties in that area that are the same thing. So I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention in case you didn't look at it good, but everybody knows that area. This isn't a normal exception normally in other locations, but in this one, I think it fits. So just think about it, and y'all vote the way you want to vote, but as a council person, I would be in favor of it. So just to let y'all know. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, to add on to Mr. Darby's point, this property is sitting on about a half acre. So from density standpoint, it does have plenty of space. And again, it's not changing the character of the neighborhood here, so.
No, it's just, when you do a zoning adjustment, you gotta be very careful. And you know, income is one of those criteria. All right, so.
I have a question for Arlene. Arlene, is there just one address for that location? There's not?
On the GIS.
I mean, I see it there. I just didn't know if that was.
Can I speak?
Yes.
I can go there. I'll fill mine out in a minute, Arlene. James Ledoux, 812 North Cleveland. This lot is cat-a-corner from where I live at. This is my great uncle's old lot, and they sold it, and then that guy sold it again, and so forth that way. But yeah, it's just got one 911 address. So what they would have to do is maybe go to the post office and get 2 separate addresses. You know, 797, 797 and a half or something like that. But they would have to definitely get 2 different addresses because you're going to have 2 different mailboxes for 2 different residents.
Yeah.
I would say that would probably need to be a stipulation or something. It needs to have 2 addresses there. So, you know, if you have a problem, you know you're having a problem with the front one, you know you're having a problem with the back one. But yeah, that lot is a real deep lot, and I don't have any opposition of putting one in front of the other like that on one side.
Yeah. I agree. I echo what Mr. Darby said. It's conducive to the neighborhood. You know, if you can, I know where Jonathan's coming from as well, but if you can have 2, you know, income generating locations for the city for taxes and, you know, people to live, you know, you got, you know, water tap, sewer tap, trash. I mean, it's not like they're dropping it into Carla somewhere, so. Anyway.
All right, out of all of this, yeah.
And also, I will say, you know, having the 2 different addresses, it's going to require separate water taps.
That's right.
And everything, so.
He just answered it.
Yeah. The only thing that and I think Public Works, somebody at Public Works could verify this, but I think it would definitely have 2 water taps, but I think the sewer line, they can run a trunk line if it's large enough, you know, just like you do any other.
It's 4 inches to run both of them.
That's correct, so.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. Everybody had good comments. The one thing I didn't say a while ago is we need to make sure the setbacks between the 2 are correct, that they're not too close. That would be my only other concern. So if there is a 30-foot, well, not 30, it's 10.
It'll be 10 separated into 2, yes. And then 30 from the front.
Correct, yeah. So as long as we stick with those, I think we're okay, and as long as we don't let any other ones fall in there. But as long as we keep our setbacks, we should be good.
All right, so out of all this discussion, I heard some members want to entertain a motion for amendment.
I'll move.
Well, what was the amendment?
Well, we need to make sure that there's no additional trailers added, other than the two. And that he has to meet all setbacks, and all the, he'll have to deal with the water department on 2 taps. There are 3/4 inch taps in that area. Sewer line, if it's 4 inch, it'll do.
All right, so,
Do we have to make an amendment stipulation, because all these are required?
Yeah,
by
there's-
law.
No, I don't think we do.
They're all required, you'd have to come back for an additional variance for any of those items.
so even just allow the 2, right?
Correct, they'd have to come back.
Yeah, he'd have
So
to
if
come
you
back to
wanted
the
put
third.
another one,
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, I've got several of them over there like that, and usually they use an A and B. So I mean, I don't know what the city wants to do, but mine are A and Bs, the ones that I've got. I got 2 dwellings on 1 lot.
I had to bring up an issue on that too. Do I need to go up here and talk?
Please.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
So, I don't know what the requirement is as far as having a separate water and sewer tap. I know water tap is absolutely required. Sewer tap separate is supposed to be required as well, from what I understand, even though it's a 4 inch. If he decides to ever rent this out, it's completely separate. It's a money-making property, so it needs to be separated. And so if you're getting into an issue of that nature, I think we need to cover our grounds to try to prevent that. It's not gonna be that much harder. If we're looking, if they come up with a 6 inch tap right there, and it's to take and put a split in the wire, because it goes in 6, and put 2 separate 4 inch stands to run from. Because if you got one that's stopped up and one that's not, you're fixing to cause a problem with both of them backing up at the same time. So,
All right, any other comments for voting?
So would we have to stipulate that it would be 2 separate sewer lines?
We do have an ordinance, there's subdivision ordinance that states that there's no dual services.
Okay.
But it's pretty standard that we do require 6 inch taps. So if it is a 4 inch there, they're probably going to be required to upgrade.
That's all covered? those subsections?
Yes.
Okay.
so if it's 6 inch, then 6 inches sufficient to carry 2 4 inch lines.
All right, anything else before we vote? All right, we vote. Motion passed. All right, next item up is resolution granting a variance to Edward Holmes, 1152 Cypress Street, to allow for expansion of non-conforming use. Currently mobile home is 12 by 60, new mobile home is 16 by 70. Is there anybody here from that to speak? Please, would you like to come to the podium to talk about that?
I'm too wild.
Yeah. We'll let you sit there.
Okay.
So what do you plan on doing?
Okay, remove, clean the property and put another mobile home in
There's one there, and we're getting another one, a new one, and we're gonna pull that one out of the way and put it in the place where that one's at. And I'm just wondering if we, qualify to do that.
Same location. Take the old one out, put a new one in,
Right.
same location.
No.
Same location.
Well, what you told me is you're gonna put it across.
Yeah, he changed them. Like
Changed?
We
Okay.
don't, just like
That would've been a good thing to do, I think.
It's gonna be squared up with the property line and everything. Cause it's sitting crooked now. The new one's gonna be squared up.
It's,
It's not straight now.
it's north and
It's-
south.
Yeah, but it's kinda crooked. It needs to be squared up with the property line.
Okay.
It's not that far. It's just a little bit to turn it, not much.
Can I get a motion to proceed?
Make a motion.
Motion. We have a second? We have a motion and a second?
Do we still have discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got something to say about that.
Yep, this is where we go
Uh,
first.
You know,
Well, hang on, let's vote on this first, or,
okay,
well, no, let's,
No.
yeah, so now it's discussion time.
okay, thank you.
Sorry, Bill.
You know, when Donnie started, and fixed to find out how old I am, you know, we had a grandfather clause. Somebody brought the thing to a halt. He was a lawyer, I'm sure. Excuse me, sir. But, you know, in the event that we were still in the thing that was sold to the public years ago, when I was on this thing, I was on the original committee when we were writing the thing, then this man would not have to be here. He could put a trailer back, I forget whether it was a year or 2 years, right, Austin?
That's right, and to add on to your point, we wouldn't have to be here if they were replacing it with the same size trailer.
Okay, same size trailer.
Same size.
See, I didn't know the size restriction had anything to do with it. But you can't hardly buy a trailer the size he's got right now. My concern with us, if in the event that we decide to turn this down, in the place I live, there are a lot of 45 and 48-foot lots, a lot of non-conforming lots, more than you want to count. If we get a storm through here, and those people's house gets torn down by over 50%, what we're telling them right here, you gotta pay the taxes on it, but you can't build back. Now, you told me in the past, well, they can come up here for an exception and all that stuff, you know, but I mean, you know, when your house is in shambles, you know, you wanna come up here and fork out $75, you know, but I mean, I can show you houses that if this little storm comes in and tears the roof off of them and it takes 50% of the original value of that house off, which a roof would take that, then those people by this ordinance that we have right here can't build back, which I think is ridiculous. We're supposed to be here to help people. I mean, maybe not everybody's in that situation. I'm not in it, thank God, but I know I got a lot of friends that are in it. And I mean, I hope nothing like that ever happens, but if it does, what are you gonna tell these people? Tear your house down, you're not conforming, pay the taxes on it from now on, but you can't live there.
So a lot of the properties that you're talking about on the north side that only have, 5,000 square foot lots, those are all the originally platted lots. And we do allow single-family dwellings to be built back as long as they weren't in common ownership with an adjacent lot.
I can show you about 60 of them that are not platted originally, because I've checked with Arlene, you know, through the years trying to buy property. And those people have, one of them's got a brick home that's about 7 inches from the property line. You know, if the roof gets torn off that thing and it costs him half as much, can't build back. You know, unless it comes up here and gets on his knees and begs us, you know. I think we need to look at that real close, you know, because we're supposed to be up there to help people.
Understood.
And I think we got a new council, and they're gonna get everything in gear, and they're gonna start helping people. And that's what we wanna do. We wanna be fair with everybody.
Understood. We have a great opportunity to do that right now.
All right,
We're
thank
working
you.
on the text.
So right now, it boils down to there's 400 square foot increase in size, and that's really the only reason we're here, because it don't fit the same footprint of the existing trailer. Okay.
I think it's an improvement.
Hey, it'll make setbacks though, correct, Austin?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, so,
any way they put it.
yeah, so that's a main thing I think we should look at, is making sure setbacks. And Bill, I agree with you. But to my understanding, if it gets torn up 50%, people still have an opportunity to build back in those non-conforming lots. So we're gonna double check that now that you kind of brought a little attention, a little birdie to fly.
I've asked that question many times. I wish.
Well, I don't want to argue with on that. I understand it different, so we need to make darn sure what's right and wrong or not available. But to my understanding, you still have a right. What happened after the last hurricanes, people waited over the year's allowance, and then they got in a pickle because they didn't do it in a timely manner. So that's where the ordinance got some teeth. But I think in all these lots that you're talking about, even if it's 80% tore up, they have a right to build back there on that same lot, because it was a previously built home there to begin with.
Realize that on the same lot, but do they have to meet the new setbacks and everything? That's my concern.
Well, probably,
That slab there, it's kinda hard to move it.
probably not, in my opinion, because that's where we'll give them an exception or variance to make sure they can get back on the footprint they were on to begin with, is my stance. Because we've talked about that in meetings to where people on that side of town, when they lost their properties, what do they do with them? There's nothing standard about it. Well, we still gotta let those folks, they own their lots. If they gotta put a 500 square foot house, I'm okay with it. I mean,
Well, your ordinances aren't, it's gotta be 1,000 square foot.
well, I think 600's
600.
600's actually the ordinance, but if it needs to be 100 and that person can live in that, I'd be willing to give them an exception for that, you know? Because once somebody owns a piece of property, we can't tell them they can't build back on it. We may have some,
Well, this is gonna be a learning experience, because he just told me something that was told to me by the inspection department that I couldn't do. You know, I had to build a 1,000 square foot house,
Resident.
mixed residential. The lot I showed him was mixed residential.
well, I think like somebody said earlier, we got a new council, new mayor, a new staff. All you guys are new except Jonathan. Y'all got stuck with him on the same board, but no, I'm
He
just
got
picking.
stuck with us.
But no, we have a great opportunity, I think, and we have a lot of intelligent people on this board. And I'm excited for you guys, to be honest. So just keep all that in mind when we're looking at properties and where they're at. And right, Mr. Bill, we have to be fair to everybody.
Austin, what is actually the time frame if they have to build back? What is the time frame that's allotted for them to build back if they have a loss on their property that's over 50%?
You know, well, like Mr. Bill said before, the grandfather clause were removed, they had 2 years.
If some of these people didn't settle their settlement to be able to build back until almost, I got one I'm doing work on right now, just here shortly. I mean, that's crazy. So is there a stipulation or provision in there that we're gonna be able to look at to be able to do that?
I mean, there's always the option for an exception.
Right.
So,
I just wanna make sure that we're not, if that is the case, that we're not excluding people that was been caught up, I mean, no fault of their own.
That's generally the legal purpose of
Right.
variances.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
Good question.
But it might be a good idea to change the ordinance to show a disaster declaration. Would you have an extended length of time for that? That would probably be the best thing, to put it in there, for the disaster declarations. It has to be a disaster declaration. All right, any other discussion? Anybody else from the audience? All right, please vote. All right, motion passed. All right, now we'll open it up for public comment.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any public comment? All right, hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. We'll move on to the land use meeting. So do we need to do the chair and vice chair first?
Yeah. Sure.
We gotta change them again.
Stand up, right? Sit right there. Yeah, I'll stand right here.
Ready? Okay. I call this land use meeting to order. I'll have roll call. Mr. LeBlanc.
Here.
Mr. DeSalle.
Here.
Mr. Thomas.
Here.
Mr. Farr.
Here.
Mr. Brazil.
Here.
Open it up for chairman, having nominations.
I motion Jonathan.
I second.
Motion and second. Roll call. Mr. LeBlanc.
Yes.
Mr. DeSalle.
Here.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Farr.
Yes.
Mr. Brazil.
Yes.
All right, now I'll open up nominations for vice chairman.
Ready for
Randy Farr.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second for Randy. Any other nominations? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Lamont?
Yes.
Mr. Cassell?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mr. Bidwell?
Yes. All right, motion for approval of previous meeting minutes.
I move.
All right, motion,
I'll second.
you got it? Yep. All right, please vote. All right, motion passed. All right, approval of agenda. Motion. All right, please vote. Motion passed. All right, next item up is public comment. Is there anybody wish to speak? All right, hearing none, meeting's adjourned.
Got this thing. Just a button right here. Here, Troy.
First round back into
I shut it off.
public
Well,
service.
there's